Andre, there's no bread at home again, Lisa told him. Listen, what can I do? You can't even leave money for bread, he answered her. You realize that I haven't bought anything for a long time. She pointed at her cosmetic bag, which contained only mascara and lipstick. Yes, I saw when we went shopping yesterday. You were looking at all this. He nodded his head. Lisa and Andre met by chance. He had just come from the army then, and she was just a simple girl who came with her friends to the club. Liska, are you? He came up behind her, turned her around, and looked at her. Andre, hi, she said. Of course, who else? She was pleasantly surprised by the appearance of her neighbor. Some 3 years ago, they had first met. Together they got into a company, but Andre was already 18 then, and Lisa was only 15 years old. The guy at that moment did not pay any attention to her, but she appreciated him, and especially his eyes. Let's go together. After all, we are neighbors, the girl said to him then. No, he waved his hands as if he was afraid of her. And Lizaveta spent whole evenings dreaming about the neighbor. She thought that he did not understand, did not see her, but in fact, everything was different. Andrew just realized that she is still small for serious relationships. And now he came from the army, became even more handsome than he was before. Lisa looked at him and realized that even now she has nothing to gain. But how wrong she was. Come with us, the guy called her. Okay, she was breathless at the suggestion. They came to visit some friend of Andre's. It was fun, but the couple sat in a dark corner. What have you become? He touched her hair. Andre, she was embarrassed. What are you doing? It seems that a couple of years ago you were chasing me yourself, he reminded her. Why did you do that? She blushed. She had other things on her mind now. She had just gotten in, she had to study, and she could only go out on weekends. I'm sorry, he took her by the chin. Lisa thought he wanted to kiss her, but Andre didn't. He just looked into her eyes, and she saw tenderness in them. That's how they sat until the evening. No matter how many friends called them to the table, neither he nor she paid any attention. Are you going home? Andre asked, when many people had already started to pack. I remember you never wanted to go there with me, she laughed. And now I really want to. He opened the door in front of her. They walked down the sidewalk. It wasn't far to walk, so they walked slowly. I never thought that I would come and meet such beauty, Andre said. Did you expect something else? She looked at him from under her fluffy eyelashes. I thought I'd be out with guys all night long, but here, you see how it turned out. He sharply grabbed Lisa in his arms and spun her around. Let go, she clapped him on the shoulder. At home, Lisa went to her room. There she sat on the bed and just stared at the wall. What are you doing? Her mom came in to see her. No, nothing, just. She began to change for bed. So mysterious, her mother sat down next to her. Mom, it's okay. Lisa didn't want to talk about Andre because she thought her mom would be against it. She went to bed like that, didn't go to dinner, and didn't leave the room at all. In the morning, Lizaveta got up with a good mood. She did not know whether she and Andre would meet or not, but there were still expectations. The girl came out of the entranceway. He was sitting on a bench. Well, finally, Andre got up from his seat. Hi, she felt awkward again. I've been waiting here since morning. I was afraid to knock, he admitted. I did the right thing. I didn't tell my parents that I talked to you yesterday, she said. And why? Was surprised by the young man. I do not know. I do not want to tell anyone anything. She avoided answering. After all, Lisa and herself did not know whether they would get something or not. They again went for a walk along the streets of the city. To talk especially, there was nothing to talk about. So the young people talked about neighbors, whom both knew, and about mutual friends. Lisa, and let's go to my place to visit, dared and invited her boyfriend. And what will your mom say? She not only for this reason did not want to go to him. You what? She has long since moved to her mother in the village, said Andrew. We just have to make sure that my mom doesn't learn anything, said the girl. We are quiet. He put his finger to his lips. Good, she laughed, and they went to the house where they both lived. They went up to the floor quietly and entered the apartment. We need to be quiet here too, because we can hear everything, she said in a whisper. Okay, he nodded. They went into the room, sat down on the sofa. Andre took Lisa's hand. Andre, she looked at him. I so regret that I was such a fool before, he said. It's all in the past, she said. You don't like me anymore, he asked directly. Why like you? It's just, you're rushing things, Lisa said. I won't. He took his hand away. Just please don't leave. I will not leave, she promised. Let's drink tea. Andre went to the kitchen and brought cups. They sat until the evening, talking, watching TV, and listening to the tape recorder. Lisa felt good with this young man, but she didn't know how to go home. Her mother would guess anyway. Why do you think so? Andre asked her. Your door will only slam, and then I'll come right in, she explained to him. Don't think about it, Andre told her. But when she came home, her mother was already standing in the hallway. Were you at the neighbor's? Mom asked. No, why did you think so? Was surprised by the girl. I heard that he was talking to someone. It seemed to me that it was your voice, and then there went out, and you came in. The mother said everything as Lisa thought. And you think Andre is bad? She asked her mother. Why do you think so? Did not understand the woman. Just asking, said Lisa. He's recently returned from the army. Be careful with him, warned her mother. He's nice, Lisa finally admitted. I don't mind, Mom shrugged. I promise that I will behave carefully, said the girl. The main thing is not to quit studying, worried her mother. You what? The girl was surprised that she had such an opinion about her. That's it, I got it, I'm off. The woman went to the kitchen and waited for her daughter to go there. They sat and drank tea. They were silent. Both realized that it was too early to talk about anything. After that, the daughter went to her room. She was glad that her mother had given her the right to choose. Now they were dating Andre openly. It seemed that it was true love. He treated the girl very carefully, listened to her in everything. And Lisa also, in everything, supported her young man. Mom, we'll probably get married soon. Once came home, Lisa. Maybe not now. It's such a hard time in the country, said the woman. We love each other, so we know for sure that everything will work out, the girl was sure. As you know, but a good wedding will definitely not work out, warned the mother. And they didn't need anything like that. They were young. Their blood was boiling. At that age, it seems that everything is still ahead of them. After a simple wedding, attended by a few friends of the young and parents, they began their life together. They decided that they would live in the husband's apartment. His mother lived in a village outside the city. Lisa was very comfortable. It turns out that her parents lived across the wall. Come over in the evening, I'll bake pies. The woman called them every evening. All right, the young people agreed. It was not easy. Lisa was studying, Andre was working, but his salary was constantly delayed. Sometimes there was not even bread in the house. And this morning, when Lisa got up to prepare breakfast, she found an empty bread box. She was offended that her husband reproached her for waste, although she had not bought anything for herself for a long time. We need to think of something, said Lisa. And what can you think of? The whole country lives like this, said Andre. He himself realized that you need to raise a family, and it's time to have children. But with such a situation as they had, they could not afford anything like that. A year passed after their wedding, but nothing changed. One day his mother came to Lisa and Andre. Hello, she stood in the doorway. Why are you as not native? Come in, said her son. Grandma is very ill. I'm afraid she won't live to see tomorrow, the woman said tearfully. She was not very old, but her health was failing her badly. Already married to Andre, Lisa learned that he had an older brother and he died. Her mother survived it. After that, her health broke down. Hello, Lisa came out to her. She helped the woman to undress, and Andre took the bags to the kitchen. Are you coming? She asked, looking questioningly at her son. Of course, let's give you some tea, and then we'll go straight away. He pulled up a chair for her. Thank you. She sat down and took the cup from her daughter-in-law's hands. It was obvious that the woman's hands were shaking. She was worried. They packed up and drove to the village. They had to take an ordinary bus that ran through the city. Grandma lived only a few kilometers from the city. When they entered the house, it was very quiet. No way, she didn't wait. The woman even sat down a little. Lisa was afraid that she might faint or worse. Now, Andre quickly went into the room where the old woman was lying. Come in, everything is all right. He went out into the corridor. Hello, Lisa looked at the woman who was lying in bed. Grandmother, remember, this is Lisa, spoke Andre. But the one lay there and just stared. When the girl took her hand, she squeezed it so she understood. Let's go to the kitchen, called their mother. They went there, only poured tea, as they heard that something fell in the room. The mother jumped up from her stool and went there. Mother, they heard her cry. The young ones ran into the place where they had been only a few minutes before. Grandmother apparently wanted to drink, but she was unable to do so. The mug had fallen out of her hands, and she was dead. I'm sorry, Lisa said quietly. And then the running started. Someone came in and out of the house. The coffin was brought in, my grandmother was washed, dressed, and other things that are supposed to be done at such a moment. After the funeral, Andrew's mother became ill. We even had to call a doctor. He said that the woman had high blood pressure and needed to go to the hospital. That's where they put her after everything. Let her live with us, said Lisa to Andre. Yes, I also thought about it, but I did not know whether you agree or not, told her Andrew. On this and agreed, after the hospital, the woman went to the place where she lived before she left to take care of her mother. And what? Let's make repairs in the house and move out of town, suggested Andre. It's a good idea, supported his mother. His mother has a good house, a big one. Now few people thought about anything, it was necessary to do repairs. Almost every day Lisa and Andrew, after all the work, went to their future home. Andriishka, sell this apartment and do their everything overhaul, suggested his mother. Are you sure? He could not believe his ears. Why should I be unsure? You're my only one. I don't have long to live. Take it, she said in all seriousness. The apartment underwent a small cosmetic renovation and was immediately put up for sale. All the money that her mother had saved was used to put the house and the apartment in order. But now the young hoped that they would sell the apartment, and then they would do everything as it should be done. And so it turned out. Andre turned out to be handy. Everything worked out for him. While he was doing everything for himself, then a neighbor asked for help, and for this she paid, and then another. Andrew thought, and why not leave work, and not to organize their own business? He saw with his own eyes how residents needed wiring or plumbing. Lisa, I want to discuss with you an important matter. He sat down opposite his wife in the evening. I'm listening, she looked at him. I quit my job, he announced to her. You what? And how are we going to be now? She made big eyes. Listen, and he told her about his plans. Initially, Andre just put up ads saying he could help with this and that. People started contacting him. And then word of mouth spread so much information about the local craftsmen that both from the city and from neighboring villages called only him. I need to take someone to help me. I don't have time to do it alone, Andre told his wife. And you will soon have a personal assistant. She stroked her stomach. It can't be. He got down on his knees and fell to his wife. I just found out today. She leaned over and kissed him on the top of his head. I love you, he said and kissed her belly. Andre found his old buddy with whom they had once worked together. He suggested that they get back together. He hesitated for a long time whether to quit his job or not. But after Andre gave him ironclad evidence, he did not hesitate to agree. They rented a room in the club so that they could repair some equipment. Business was booming. When Andrew realized that some parts simply cannot be found, He opened first a stall in the city, and then a store with various parts. I did not think that you are my businessman will become such a businessman. Hugged him Lisa. She was already in the last days of pregnancy. I myself could never have thought that I would be doing something like this. Now the family had almost everything. The renovation of the house was long finished. Now a beautiful 2-story cottage stood in the middle of the village. Lisa wanted the second floor, and her husband could not refuse her. Furniture, cabinets, everything was bought for his wife. And who would have thought a few years ago, when we had no money for a loaf of bread, that we would get rich like this? In the evening, the 3 of them sat on a veranda. Well done, the mother said quietly. She stayed with her son and daughter-in-law like that. The woman was ill, and Lisa took care of her as best she could. Oh, the girl grabbed her stomach. It has begun, shouted Andrew, and ran to the car to start it. After that, he came after Lisa and gently led her to the vehicle. They drove quickly to the hospital, and in 6 hours, Snezana was born.